All right. Welcome back to the Action Effect podcast with Zac Fischer and Dan Whigham. Today is episode number 6, and it's called Fuck Your Feelings. Because at the end of the day, your feelings is probably what's holding you back from success. And we're going to talk to you guys about that on what has allowed Dan and myself to have the success that we've had so far. And a lot of it has to do with the simple fact that we just go ahead and do things, whether we feel like it or not. And that is a staple. So, Dan, why don't you go ahead and kick it off? Let us know what that means to you and ultimately how you're able to wake up at 3:30 in the morning every single day, because I'm sure your little bitch voice tells you to go back to sleep.
Yeah, man, it's definitely been something that we both, have kind of been diving into, and it's had a lot of impact around just different areas of life and things that we've tried to do every single day. And, between getting up early and just not wanting to do it to, you know, making that extra call, going through that extra portion of the CRM that you don't really want to do just to get it done, right? Like at the end of the day, you just have to go and accomplish it, whether you feel like it or not. And a lot of the times, like, probably not going to feel like it, So I think once you realize, like, hey, it's not really about what I feel like. It takes what it takes, right? By any means necessary. It's what you have to go and accomplish.
So true, man. And we all have that what I like to call a little bitch voice that tells us exactly the opposite of what we should do, right? So for me, I like to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. So when my alarm goes off, it tells me immediately, just put it back on airplane mode and go to sleep, Zac. You're going to be fine. Your bed was so comfortable. And so I have to not think about it. And I exit my bedroom. And then it tells me, hey, why don't you go ahead and lay down on the couch? It looks really warm over there. You can get a blanket. And then I have to just continue to move forward, grab some caffeine and a water. I go to my desk and it says, hey, why don't you just, lay your head on your desk for a little bit? And I just have to literally not think and just go about my habits, right? Habits are ultimately what creates our future. Everybody has them. They're either good or they're bad. You know what I mean? And so it's really all about whether you feel like it or not. Something I tell myself is, okay, Zac, you're up. Do your morning routine. Let's go to the gym. And then if you need a power nap when you get back from the gym, you can rip one. But right now, we got to just keep moving forward. Like, how do you go about continuing to do things, Dan, even whenever like, man, I'm worn out today, or I have legs today in the gym and my legs feel like jello already from 3 days ago when I crushed them. Like, how do you continue to move forward?
I think a part of it, there's two pieces to it. So I've heard Jocko Willing say all the time, like, hey, tomorrow, if you need like, just delay your rest day, right? If you need a rest day tomorrow, then take it, right? But like today, just go to the gym, right? Because there's usually what happens is you end up getting through the workout, whether it's, full force or not, or half-ass, whatever. You probably feel way better after anyway. And then you end up just kind of keep rolling on and keep moving forward. So instead of worrying about, and we actually had this conversation a lot over the past week, like instead of worrying about putting destinations on things as far as how long you're going to do something, just do it for one more day. You know what I mean? And like Ed Milet talks about it in his book. His dad was an alcoholic, and he would always talk to him, Dad, are you never going to drink again? And he's like, I don't know, son, but I know I'm not going to drink for one more day. Right. So like you have the power, and it's easier to extract that willpower when you move the finish line closer. And then you just stack a bunch of those races up and up and up and up. And all of a sudden you're 5 miles down the road without even really paying attention to it. But then I also think about, as hard as it is to get up in the morning and, try to move forward, as you're saying, I think about how good I feel at 5:30 when I'm walking out of the gym, and I'm like, man, like I crushed it. I stacked this win for the day. Now I'm ready to go and tackle the phones or make a post on social media, which I personally hate. Right. But I know it's something that I need to do. And it gives me the energy and the confidence to go do it, because these are things that I'm actively doing in my life, right? I don't want to be someone who's just saying, go do this. It's something that's actually affected my life and in a very positive way. And hopefully it can affect someone else. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be as extreme as 3:30, but for me, I have other reasons as to why I'm doing it. I got to let my wife go to the gym and take time to watch our daughter before my workday gets crazy. So it's fair to her, right? So it's easier for me to just not be interrupted, get up super early and get it done. So
Absolutely, man. And another thing too that ties right in with what you said is when you do just get up and you say, okay, just one more day, your competition is not saying those things. Your competition is listening to their little bitch voice. Your competition is getting back in bed. Your competition is saying, hey, I'm too sore. I'm not going to the gym. Your competition is saying, hey, it's Friday afternoon at 3:00 and it's sunny outside. I'm going to go ahead and just call it today. And I'm going to go to the pool. I'm going to go to the bar, or I'm going to go wherever, right? Or it's Saturday on 4th of July weekend. I'm not going to work today. I'm going to take today off. That's what your competition is doing. And ultimately, when you continue to stay in the saddle, continue to grind it out, right? Continue to do your habits. That's what brings it. That's what brings the life that you want, right? That's the reason why we've been able to have 25 million in sales this year so far. I mean, it's because you and I wake up and we just go. I know we just had a meeting with our team the other day, and I was telling them, guys, the only reason Dan and I can sit here and lead you effectively and so that you guys actually listen to us is because we wake up and we grind it out every single day with y'all, right? Like we're not sitting here waking up at 9 a.m. in the morning, kind of moseying around, figuring it out, hoping that you guys are just doing what you're saying. No, Dan's getting up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm getting up at 4:30 in the morning. We're putting positive personal development in our brains, which is so much of life is mindset. And then we're going to the gym. We're kicking our ass in the gym so that we can go and kick ass outside the gym, right? That's my saying that I love. If I kick my ass in the gym, I can kick ass outside the gym. And so it's so much about habits, right? And it's really about just doing them every single day. Because my thing, something that's really hit me recently, and the reason why I'm not more successful today is because I was a 70%er. And what I mean by that is I was really good 70% of the time, but that 30% was always holding me back. We had a great week. I went out drinking, with my wife, or I got up 4 days in a row, and the fifth day I slept in, or whatever it was, right? It was always that 30% that ends up holding you back. So, Dan, how have you been able to just be so rock solid and not fall for that 30% that holds so many people back?
I mean, I'm definitely not perfect by any means. I definitely go through ups and downs as far as like getting up early and, wanting to sleep in and kind of letting my inner bitch voice take over. But I would say, honestly, when you start to realize the pain and the negative effects of like not doing it, for me, like waking up in a reactive state, right? If I wake up at 6:30, I'm reacting. There's already people hitting me up on my phone, and I'm like, oh shoot, I got to do this. I haven't lifted yet today. I haven't done any of the stuff that I wanted to do to get into the right mindset to be able to address any of these things. Now, God forbid, something on that phone is super, super negative about a big deal that I was excited about, and now all of a sudden the homeowner wants to cancel, right? That's going to obviously, I'm going to react differently to that based on what I've done in the morning already. So that's, for me, I see it as like, I don't want to ever be in that situation. So like the easiest thing I can do is just be tired for a little bit right now, go up, get the workout in. And also, man, you're the same, I'm sure, but I hate getting hit up at the gym. Like I want to have a good focused workout and use my time efficiently so I can actually like progress in that. And then another thing too, kind of like what you said, is like celebrating the wins. I think sometimes it's very easy to want to give ourselves too much grace occasionally. And it's easy to fall into that when, I don't know, for me, and you're the same way. I think we look at a lot of people that were like, wow, we want what they have. We aren't even close to them yet. Why do we deserve to take a day and go do this? Like, it's going to set us, like, to me, I feel like the setback of a day is so much more powerful than 5 days in the positive direction. I mean, Wes Watson talks about it all the time, where, people they walk and walk and walk 5 days in a row. And then all of a sudden those 2 days, they end up just moving backwards, and it sets them further back. So
yeah, and ultimately it kills your self-worth, right? I mean, I know me, whenever I tell myself, okay, Zach, you're getting up at 4:30 tomorrow, and then I hit snooze and I wake up at 6, I immediately am starting my day thinking bad about myself, like thinking like I'm not worth it today, right? Which kills your self-worth, which ultimately is your net worth, right? Your self-worth equals your net worth. If you do not love yourself, then you're not going to end up being successful. And so much of that has to do with your physical appearance. Anybody that's depressed out there, personally, I believe 99% of it is in the mind, which you can actually look it up. There's a lot of research in that. And what I mean by that is, and I know people will probably blow me up in the comments, but if you go and you do physical activity, you can't be depressed. It's impossible. It's a scientifically proven scenario, right? But anyways, I don't want to go down that road. But ultimately, how you build up your self-worth is small wins, right? Or wins in general. It doesn't have to be small. It can be big. You can do something awesome. But a lot of times people aren't doing big wins or medium wins because they're not even doing the small wins, right? What do I mean by that? Actually getting up when you say you are, going to the gym, and you don't have to go to the gym, but some form of physical activity. Maybe you go on a walk, maybe you go on a run, maybe you go swimming, whatever. You do something you said you were going to do. It's a small win, whatever it is. Cleaned your house, cleaned your car, anything that builds up your character, right, is going to make you feel better about yourself. And we look at it with our sales team. We have guys who are very confident. And the reason they're very confident is because they are taking care. They're doing the small wins, like I just said. And then we have other guys who aren't as confident, and their success shows it. And it's because they're not doing the small things, right? They're skipping days. They show up on Monday, they miss Tuesday, or we don't even hear from them Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, we hear from them, but stats wise, we can look and see, okay, you didn't make your calls. You showed up lazy to the appointments. You did whatever, right? And then that hurts them, and then ultimately subconsciously hurts how they are as a person, And so, Dan, touch on that on kind of how you feel about self-worth and self-image.
I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, keeping promises to yourself and saying you're doing what you say you're going to do is the easiest way to build self-confidence, and also just harness the power of momentum, right? Like easy, just make your bed in the morning, boom, small win. Like all of these little things stack up, and you can ask a ton of people what the biggest game changer was for them. And a lot of the times they're going to say, hey, I don't really have any big thing or big change that I made. It was just consistent over and over and over and over action that I was taking that just stacked all of that up. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely the easiest way to go about it. And I think like kind of going back to setting long-term goals of like, hey, I'm never going to drink again, or I'm not going to drink for a year, or I'm going to go to the gym for a year and do this type of workout and this diet and all this stuff. You set yourself up for failure in a way, I believe, because one, if it's too extreme and you're biting off more than you can chew, then you're ultimately going to feel a certain type of way about yourself when that doesn't happen and you don't hit that goal. Right. I'm not saying it's not important to have goals, but if you end up going to, let's say you end up saying you're not going to ever drink again, right, or never smoke again, and just all of a sudden, like cold turkey, do that. If you end up failing, it's going to affect you a little bit more because of what you already told yourself. Right now, you're lying to yourself. Now you can't keep promise to yourself. But on the flip side of that, let's say you have a deadline at the end of it. What happens when you hit that deadline? If that 90 days comes around, if that 60 days comes around, are you going to celebrate that? Or are you just going to keep rolling on, right? Like you hear people all the time, I'm going to take a month off. I'm going to do a diet for this, right? That's why I don't really understand diets. You got to change your lifestyle. If you do a diet, what happens after the diet? We always see people doing this stuff, yep, and then boom, they're back to their regular habits. So, I mean, habits are going to be significantly more important over the long run. I think, that's how you're going to instill change actually moving forward.
Yeah, man. I posted on Threads yesterday, habits over results. And what I mean by that is exactly what you just said. It's not about the result, because you're not going to get the result unless you have the habits. So you have to instill it as a lifestyle, like people ask me, hey, Zach, what do you eat? You know, like they'll see me at the gym. Hey, what do you eat, man? Like you're lean, you're big. And I'll say, man, I eat the same thing every single day, right? Because that's my habit. And the same thing with you. I don't know about as far as eating, but like when people ask you, you know, Dan, how are you so jacked? Well, I work out every day, bro. Like I come here every single day. Like it's just a ritual for me. You know, you see people going in there and they're trying really, really hard and they're working really hard. It's because they know they're not going to show up in 3 days. I'm in there chilling, right? Just doing my stuff because I know tomorrow I'm going to be right back. The next day I'm going to be right back, right? And that's life. That is so life. And it took me a long time to realize that because everybody says, you always hear, you know, fall in love with the process. It's about the journey, not the end destination. And when I hear that, I always think, okay, you know, work really hard, right? Just keep cranking. You're going to make it. But ultimately what they mean is it's your habits. You know, it's not, I mean, it's working hard matters, but if you're working hard on the wrong things, you're not going anywhere, right? Which is ultimately what was holding me back. I was working hard on the wrong things. And a lot of times, like what Wes Watson says, is you need to eliminate things from your life instead of adding things because this is an information age. I mean, we have a podcast right here. There's millions of people who have podcasts. There's YouTube. There's all kinds of social media, seminars. We can get more information today than any ever other time on this planet. So it's not so much about learning. It's more about eliminating. Right. And so, Dan, why don't you touch on some things that you feel like people should eliminate from their life that can help them move forward?
Well, before I jump into that, I think another good way to put it and to really hammer the point of habits home is like Alex Hormozi will say, you know, the point of a marriage, for example, isn't to win, right? The point of a marriage is to stay in marriage. And at the end of the day, you need to continue to earn that love and earn that respect from your partner every single day, right? Same thing with your health and fitness. The point of getting jacked isn't to win, right? Like I don't want to just be jacked one day and then lose it all. But I understand I have to go and maintain like the physique that I want every single day. And that comes with the habits that I've instilled by going to the gym, eating the foods that I need to eat, tracking my macros and doing all that stuff that will ultimately continue to keep me where I want to be, right? So I think like a lot of people get it misconstrued as like, hey, I want this physique for this one thing, where it's like just like treat it as a never, like you can't win. Like, it's a game you literally can't win. And once you understand that, it'll be a lot less, you know, it'll be a lot easier to, I guess, move forward and just kind of address it the way that you need to and understand like, okay, I guess it just is the habits, right? Like you can't, I've seen so many people who are just like, they're so like get a massive amount of motivation to go change something about themselves. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's not going to be sustainable because a lot of the times you're not going to make those decisions, like over time and consistently. So a good example is when I was in college, right? I think I actually I think I probably took an Adderall or something, but I went straight to the like admissions office and I was like, I'm going to declare a double major. And then like the next day when I was like not feeling super motivated, I was like, why the heck did I do that? Like that was kind of one of those things like, man, this is just like one of those days I was feeling great about it. And I was like, this is a great idea. This is going to propel me so far into life. Right. So, but ultimately it was one of those things that I didn't truly understand and want. But, sorry, I totally went off on a rampage there. What was your question again?
No, man, you hit the nail on the head. It's infinite and not finite, right? Which Alex Hormozi actually just did a video on that. Everybody should look it up on his YouTube. And he talks about that. He's like, guys, marriage, the whole goal is to stay married. It's not like you get married and it's not finite. Like it's not like, okay, hey, I'm married now, I can just go do whatever I want. Like, no, it's infinite, right? Same with business. You got to fall in love with the game. Right? It's not, you don't just start a business and hit 10 million and you're like, okay, I hit 10 million. Now I'm just going to stop and my business should be good. It's like, no, it's infinite. It's not finite. It's continuous. Like you got to continue to grow. If you're not growing, then you're dying. Right. And it comes down to your feelings at the end of the day. Right. Alex Hormozi in that video actually talks about how if you can take your feelings out of your business, where it's not attached to your actual self-worth as far as what the business is doing, then you can actually make logical decisions, not based off your feelings. You're making it based off data, right? Where we can look and say, okay, you know, here is how much we are a 4% closing rate out of 100 leads. This is
Yeah.
how much it costs. Now we know how much we can spend on marketing instead of just saying, well, Timmy over there needs more leads, so let's just spend more money, right? It's not about our feelings. It's about results, or it's about the data, right? And ultimately it comes down to, it's about how it makes you feel, right? If you know that going out and drinking on a Friday night is holding you back, you shouldn't go, right? And I've been there. I've partied plenty of times. Trust me, okay? But I know that it's held me back every single time. It's not worth doing it. So I'm not saying I will never party again, but I have big goals, and so that's where I need to go. So I need to fuck my feelings, like the title of this episode, and do what is necessary instead. Just like this morning when my alarm went off and I didn't want to get up, but I knew my competition is going to sleep in. You know, one day they're going to sleep in. I don't know what day it's going to be, but I'm not going to be the one that sleeps in. So eventually I will be able to dominate them, right? And so that's why it's Fuck Your Feelings, episode 6. But Dan, we'll wrap it up here, man. You got any final words for our audience?
No, nothing really, other than just there's a lot of the times where your ego is going to get in the way of doing things. And for me, like, another example is social media. I hated it. I didn't want to post on it. I didn't want to put the camera in my face. But now I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't care. It's not about me at the end of the day, right? Yep. It's something that if I want to progress and level up, it's something that I need to do. So fuck my feelings, right? And I'm going to just point the camera at myself, make some stupid videos, probably talk about some stuff and stumble over my words, but hey, that's all good, right? We're all about learning and progressing. So, yeah, I mean, that's the best way to kind of hammer it home, I think, is doing. It's not all about what you feel like doing. It's just getting it done at the end of the day. So,
and you've been putting out some fire videos, bro. So it's been great for the audience. Everybody that watches you has loved it. But yeah, guys, I mean, my final note for you, if you're out there, you're lost, you're wanting to get ahead, you're like, man, I have these big goals and dreams. My advice for you guys is just do the habits every single day. Just show up. It's not so much about adding things to your life, more as eliminating things. Sit down and think about what's holding you back. Is it fear of taking action on something? Is it drinking? Is it smoking weed? Is it partying too much? Is it that you're lying about something? I mean, whatever it is, it could be your diet. It could be that you're not going to the gym. It could be that you're not making your sales calls like you know you should be. It could be that you need to wake up early. Whatever it is, do it every single day. And whatever you regret doing is actually the thing that you need to be doing. That's the direction that you need to be going. The higher power is calling you to go in that direction and do that. So thank you guys so much for listening. Please let us know what you thought about this episode. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever you're watching this on, whether it's YouTube or podcast. And we hope you guys have a great day. We love you.
Absolutely. Later.